So best friends got each other's back. We used to cruise around with a bass to the max. Everyone at school while I was in the lab, cooking up some beats that would turn into tracks. High school chillin', I was on a mission. I had bigger dreams of being a musician. Teachers always talked but I couldn't seem to listen. I lived in a fantasy land, they called it fiction. But I was gonna be big one day, playing shows on the road to a sold out stage. Nobody really cared or believed I would make it anywhere close, I would fail and fade. But that's cool, I love that, cause any little doubt gives me energy back. And now, I'm in a place where I'm glad I never gave up on the dreams I had. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. Yeah, let's go. So if you want something big, you gotta swing fast, swing hard and commit. You might miss 10 times, but when you hit, just make sure that you get all of it, okay? People at the top took risks. Investing and testing is all that they did. It's not complicated, it just takes grit. So never give up, take a swing at it. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Pick and Roll Podcast, episode 80. I'm here with my good guy, Nicky Steeds. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yeah, what is up, everybody in the chat? We got Butterfly in here. We got my guy, Nick. What is up, man? Thank you for stopping by. I'm feeling good. You know, USA was, oh, wow. You guys literally jumped in at the same exact time.
We were talking about how we could overthrow the show and make it our own. We're sick of you, Mitch. We want you out.
Everybody wants me out.
Fire the coach.
That's the theme here. Hey, guys, what's up? Blaze Radio and Rio Show the Jets Fans Podcast. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I've been spending all day looking for a scoreboard for these Olympic preseason games.
I know. How'd you find that?
I actually saw that it was called the U.S. Showcase. So I Googled U.S. Showcase scoreboard and found that Olympic website that had it on it.
Wow.
But I went to all the different, like, you know, USA Today, ESPN, Yahoo, and all those first and looked all over. But like, no one has the scoreboard because when you go to Olympic scores, it doesn't have anything because they don't have the damn preseason because it's not really the Olympic preseason. Yeah. Anyhow, it was basketball at noon with the best players in the world on all in one team, so I enjoyed it.
Yep.
And this guy was calling the action.
I was, yep. Yeah, I was not on post game with Dives last night. I was producing Queens of the Rain for the Hardcore Sports Network, so I missed the game last night. So I caught the highlights this morning.
Oh no, Monstars here. I'm so scared.
Right.
What's up,
Yep.
my boy Sean.
So let's get this started with Kobe Bryant's father, Joe Bryant, passed away a couple days ago at age 69.
Dude, I mean, I don't want to make a joke about someone dying.
I don't
Oh my
either.
gosh, just
I know
stop.
it's right in front of us.
I have very
Right,
dark
but I
humor.
didn't- I mean, first of all, let me preface this by always saying I would never disrespect anyone that has passed away or their family. Always respect goes to the family. But I've said this a million times on my streams and others. When celebrities or sports people or wrestlers or actors that died that are a big part of my childhood, my past or whatever, yeah, it kind of brings stuff up. But I didn't know Joe Bryant.
All we
That's all.
basically
I mean,
know is that he was Kobe
I know
Bryant's father.
he played for the Sixers.
Yeah, he played for the Sixers. That's all I
Okay.
pretty much know.
Yeah, I'm
But-
not trying to disrespect anything. I just we take my point is always we take a lot of time remembering people once they pass, right?
Yeah.
Right. Which is honorable. You should always do that. You should always respect and honor people that pass. My thing is, while I have this platform on YouTube and we all do, let's honor the people while they're alive.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. And that's what I love doing. So, yes, we got to talk about it because it's in basketball news, but
Yeah. And Nick, that number would not be my jersey number.
it would be
Mine
3.
would be 3.
It's
It-
33.
33, but mine would be 3.
Yeah,
Because
because he
Allen
copied off of
Iverson.
me. That's my favorite number 3, and so he copied.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so it's from home. Yeah. So without further ado, let's just go on to the next thing. With Anthony Edwards signing an extension with Adidas, they're trying to build their sneakers, their shoe brand around him, which I'm like, perfect. They got him locked up. Anthony Edwards arguably going to be the future face of this league. I'm up for it. I'm all for it. I love it. Let's start off with Nikki. How do you feel about it?
Great move by Adidas. They looked at their roster and realized, hey, this Anthony Edwards guy, he has the potential to be the future face of the league. And considering the NBA is based in North America, Anthony Edwards is the biggest young star from North America in the league. And they're like, hey, we got him under contract. Let's give him a big deal. Let's make him the face of our brand for basketball players. I think that's a great move right there by Adidas, because he can be a guy that can represent the brand going forward.
I'm trying to think. Who else is there? I'll look it up in a bit. Please, how do you feel about it? I know you're a big Anthony Edwards fan.
Hey, well, this was my profession, man. Shoes,
Donovan
sporting
Mitchell.
goods. This is what I did for a living. I mean, this isn't just the background drop. This is what I did for a living. I still am in sports collectibles, as well as being running my own Champ Sports back in the day and stuff. I always into the shoes. I always loved. I mean, I was just talking to someone the other day. I said, remember back when we worked there, like there was always 1 or 2 elite pairs of shoes that were over $100. Now they're all over $100. But it's just the evolution. But that's business. And what I would say with this is anything that Ant Edwards touches right now going forward should be considered gold for what he can offer, for what he could be. So I don't mind. You should hear all kinds of endorsements going after him. I was just going to say, I went through all my jerseys and I only have one Olympic jersey. So I was watching today's game. I was thinking, what Olympic jersey? Because I want to get one. I want to get in one of the new Olympic jerseys. I'm like, who to get? And I'm thinking it's Anthony Edwards. Because right now, when I think of someone to represent the NBA for the future, because we're losing the Stephs and the LeBrons and the Clay, that era is almost done. It's on the very tail end. So I'm excited about the youth and all the kids coming up. And in my day, it was only Nike. Then Adidas would have a little bit of burst in the hip hop gear back in the day. In the 80s, it had a burst. With the stripes. When Korn, the rock band, made Adidas famous again. So you see a lot of these trends with different types of brands. And I love I remember when Shaq made a $40 shoe. When Jordan's shoe was over 100 and all, he goes, I'm gonna make a $40 shoe, and just to make it more affordable. So the whole idea of the merchandising and the marketing behind sports has always fascinated the hell out of me, and I love it to death. So this is a brilliant move for not only him, because you become like, there was just a story about, I think it was South Florida, where Jordan's kid went. Jordan's boy went to college, but he couldn't wear the jersey. They were Adidas jerseys and he was under, Nike. So they after 1 year of him playing for that college, the whole college switched to Nike just so he could wear his dad's shoes because he couldn't wear Jordans with Adidas. So the whole aspect and the whole dynamic of the brands are huge in sports nowadays. And I talked about this before. That was my thesis in college, how Michael Jordan affected marketing in sports, not only on the court, but off, and how we purchase items that have to do with these sporting fans. So this is huge for Adidas. I think it's huge for, I mean, the way we're putting all this attention to Bronny, or I'll even throw Rios' boy love to hate Wemby, and all, we're throwing so much into these guys. We should be talking about Ant Edwards like he's the second coming, of Jordan. Not really. I don't want to say Jordan. I don't want to compare anyone to it, but this kid has it all. And he's like we talked about the other day, Mitch, on the one stream. He's the type of guy too that's going to say, I'm the best.
Yes.
And I'm going to be the best. And that's the attitude you're going to have if you're going to be elite like him. So I know I ramble a little bit. This is my cup of tea. This is my cup of tea when it comes to merchandising and marketing and stuff. So I'm always looking to see, because one name can shift the game. Nike will always be that penultimate, grand scheme of billions and billions of dollars coming through. But there's always been the Pumas and the Adidases and all these other brands that want to fight to get that one or two contracts where they can, get up there too. So good for Adidas and definitely good for Ant Edwards, the future of the game.
Yep. Rios?
Well, overseas Adidas is a little bit bigger than Nike, but here in the States, I mean, it's Nike and everybody else. So I think it's good to have, it's good for him because there's not a whole lot of guys, in the NBA signed to Adidas. So he's going to be like the focal point. It's like with Steph and Under Armour. Smaller brand, but he's the face of it. Like when you think of Under Armour, you think of Steph Curry. I think Ant Edwards could probably do the same thing for Adidas here in the US. Yes, when you think of Adidas, you think of Ant.
Yeah, I agree. And my guy Nick just brings up, he thinks the 5 future faces are Brunson, Maxey, Edwards, Wemby, and Luka.
Under Armour is a really good example. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a brand that should not be around unless for name recognition. It survived a really long time because of the people it latches on to. I mean, just the opposite of that spectrum. You guys remember And One?
Yeah.
Remember And One gear? They had the shorts, the shirts, everything was all popular. They went the opposite route and went for all the non-professionals and all the street ballers and stuff. And that was, you saw the evolution of street ball and stuff came up with the And One stuff. So, I mean, it just fascinates the hell out of it.
That was not sustainable long term. That was only short term.
That's what I'm saying with Under Armour. They did something different, and they were latching on to to really big names that carried them through it. So it's sad to see business go down, but Under Armour always has a lot of big names attached to them now. Well, because they do everything, right? Football,
there you go, Butterfly.
They got Tom Brady.
Yeah. They didn't say no more. Yeah, please say no more about Tom Brady. Let's move on.
They still sell And One at Walmart. I have those shorts.
I love those, man. And One shorts were the shit back in the day.
Yeah. I remember I was just watching the And One documentary on Netflix. That was great. That was great.
Different times.
Yeah.
Looking at Under Armour, like the main names that come like Tom Brady, retired, Cam Newton, and you get Justin Jefferson. All right, it's nice. Julio Jones is near the end. And you got Anthony Joshua, not that big a name. Mo Bamba.
That's Blaze's favorite player, low key.
One of them.
Actually, no, your favorite player now is Buzelis, apparently.
I'm loving some Buzelis, man. I mean, and the reason I said it was not just because of that video. I'm a tall, lanky, skinny kid. That's how I played ball too. I was a slasher, and I wasn't as good as shooter as he is, but driving to the ball, being a skinny little pale white kid like he is, going to the bucket with the hair flopping around. Believe it or not, when I had hair, I had a little floppity hair back when I was a kid, and that was me, the awkward, skinny white dude throwing his body all over the place. And I just love his game. It's energetic and it's all over the place. And the kid's got a pure shot as well, which I never had. But I just love. That's why I love Ant Edwards, the way he attacks the rim, the way he goes to the basket. And I always compare it to early Russell Westbrook. Remember when Russell Westbrook was younger, how he used to just
that was my favorite point guard.
Like
he was
nobody
my favorite
can
point
fuck
guard
with him going at the rim. You're either fouling him or he's putting you on a poster.
Yeah.
Early Russ I was a fan of.
See, I remember kangaroo shoes. You guys might not remember those. They had a little pocket in the side so you could keep your change in it, like a kangaroo pouch.
Yeah.
We tried everything back in the days.
Yeah. And then we got to bring up the whole Jaylen Brown thing because honestly, I'm a huge fan of Derek White, but it should be Jaylen Brown. I don't know if he'll be getting enough minutes there, but there had to be something going on with like front. It's like not basketball related. Something
Yeah.
had to happen. Maybe what happened with him and Nike a couple years back, but I don't know what's going on here. And Kawhi Leonard, right? He's not even. He left, so I
Well,
thought Jaylen Brown.
the first rumors were as soon as someone wasn't going to play, whether it was KD or Kawhi or someone, it's always like, "Ooh, Bronny's going to get thrown on the Olympic team. Here we go."
Thank God that wasn't the case.
Don't even get started
Well,
about
look what
Brown.
Alex Czar did the other night or last night or whatever. 0 points, 0 for 15, or whatever. Like, it's going to take these kids time. They're kids.
Yeah,
They have talent, so they're going to have good moments, but we can't expect them to come in and just be legit superstars all the time. And that, if you look back, think of the Kevin Garnett's and the Kobe's and stuff that didn't go to college and that, how rare that actually is once you see some of these kids now coming up and not being able to make it. They think they're good enough.
yeah. So I mean, Jaylen Brown. I mean, shouldn't have got there. Should he? I
Should
mean,
there be 4 from the same fucking team on the Olympic
no,
team? I
you
don't
would have
think
take Derek White out,
Well,
Jaylen
yeah.
Brown in.
Still 3. I get where he's coming from because you're the MVP of the playoffs, right? Your team just won the championship. You were right
Yeah.
there with stats with Tatum the whole year, and they're picking up the guy that pretty much not directly, but was a backup, a guy coming off the bench over you, over at least 12 other names I could think of out there that I
Oh
would
my
put
God,
over
yeah.
Derek White. Even a no disrespect to the boys got game, but even
I
like
love Derek White.
I told
Yeah.
Mitch on his stream earlier, I was typing, I was like, now that I think about it, whether it's Derek White or somebody else, does it really matter? They're not going to fucking play with the other 10 people in front of them unless they're up by 50. Think about it. Look at the 10 people that are in front of these guys we're talking about, number 12 and 11 and 13 on this team. Are they going to play?
Yeah,
unless
but
someone
people
gets
can
hurt?
make a case that Jaylen Brown is better than Tatum. People can still make that
I'd
case.
be right there with you. I wouldn't be mad if it was Tatum over Brown over
Jaylen
Tatum.
Brown over
getting-
Tatum.
Yeah, getting that first spot, in the first place. But I mean, there's a method to their madness, and like you said, Mitch, and I think this is what nails it on the head. I think there's a lot more than we're ever going to know about it.
Yes.
There could be something within, that we're not going to hear in the regular media about why it really happened, why they chose him. But there's a reason somewhere deep down in there, and I'm a benefit of a doubt type of person. I usually, and to a fault, I'll admit it, I usually think, there has to be a valid reason for why that happened, But
Yeah.
sometimes there's not.
Nah.
But they
And Nick,
Who else? Think about it, though. I mean, all the people that they could have picked instead of Derek White. I mean, are they just have Celtics on the brain because we just got them shoved down our throat through the finals and the playoffs and everything? Is that why they picked him? Or why do you – that's my question to you guys in the chat. Why do you think they went to Derek White instead of all these other players from 10 different teams? I mean, I don't want to sound like a homer, but Tyrese Maxey, he didn't deserve to.
Jalen
Brunson, yeah. I mean – what do you guys think it is?
I could go on and on.
You guys have any thoughts on why that it
Just-
would even been? I don't get it.
I think some of the
Championship.
go Rio.
I think just because they won the championship, they went with the Celtics players, but still, like
Yeah,
Derek White over Jaylen Brown. Like, come on, Tatum has the name recognition, but Brunson. I mean, Jaylen Brown's a better player. I'm
yeah,
both.
he proved it. Leader, player, facilitator,
So-
everything.
I'm just trying to think of certain players now.
I mean, I just think like you watched today's game.
Yeah.
How you watched it a little more than I did, Mitch, because I was doing stuff. How deep into the rotation did they go? 8, 7?
They
9?
went well when it was like into crunch time, they let the whole guys out, but
In the
it was
majority
like
of the game.
it was like 9, 10
So
around
that's
there.
pretty much what you're going to see is you're going to see the starting 5, whoever starts, and probably 3 guys being
Yeah.
worked into the lineup. The other 3 or 4 or whoever, I mean, they're going to play if people get hurt or situational. Because you look at some of these teams, they're going to go up against a team that doesn't have a 7-footer. So they don't have to go as big maybe against one of the teams or something. Stuff like that. Situational coaching.
Paolo's a good one. Ben Carroll would have been good.
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean,
No, absolutely not.
no, but there's at least a dozen names I could think before.
No, I'm
That's-
just saying. I'm just like
Yeah.
thinking of names here.
I think just like Rio said, and I'm alluding to, people are like, Celtics on the mind right now. So
Luca is
from a different country.
he's on a
Great.
different country.
He's
Yeah.
Croatia didn't make it. Slovenia.
Oh, good question for prime time. What NBA teams are overrated and underrated? I can tell you this right now. Underrated Pacers.
I agree because I think you guys are doing this tier thing the other day and aren't putting Indiana up with the top tier in the East, and they are. They
Yeah,
deserve to be. in
I'm
the top
still
tier in
gonna
the
do
East.
that video. I'll do that when I come back from vacation.
I'm a visual
Oh,
guy.
Kind of thing.
overrated. I would say the Celtics. People act like they're going to be a dynasty. They got lucky. All these teams were injured in the playoffs. Like they didn't play a healthy team until the finals, but I mean the Mavs weren't equipped to beat them.
Here you go, Rio. Spurs.
How would they be underrated? They're a 20-win team.
Yeah.
Down the shore.
I think the Lakers are always going to be overrated because you have
The Lakers are
LeBron there.
overrated.
They're going to be
The
considered
Clippers are
because you have
overrated.
LeBron.
Let's get that out of the way too.
Both
Clippers.
NBA teams.
Yeah, you get these quote unquote fake super teams. They're overrated until they play well together.
Sacramento.
Celtics are a bad team, but like people are acting like they're going to be a dynasty. They're going to be one and done.
I think Sacramento is underrated.
Yeah, I'm saying underrated for that. Yeah. Another one.
Who did they just add? DeRozan?
Rio's team Rockets.
Well, I think the Rockets are very underrated.
Yeah, I did. Yep. Rockets are underrated. I'll go with that.
Well, Ima Okafor helped them get that big push
Yeah.
to
I'm
nearly
trying to
get to the
think.
play-in tournament. And all you need is just another year with those
Magic?
guys together. They can make a
I would say the Magic are underrated.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're underrated. I'm just speaking out names here. The Bucks are overrated. Butterfly, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, until we see it happen, the combination of those three is not working that well.
Well,
Plus-
they just got a good player in Gary Trent.
And as
So
much as
that
I
solidifies their
But
starting.
we got to
we-
wait and see what happens.
and we always talk about not using injuries as an excuse, but they had all three of their big three get hurt, so that's going to hurt you.
Oh, really? Getting hurt is gonna hurt you.
If you're
Okay.
gonna have all three for your best players, regardless if they're a big three or not, that's gonna hurt your team.
I wish I could say Toronto as underrated. I wish I can, but they're almost there.
Yeah, not quite yet.
I mean, because of how they finished this year, I think a lot of people are underrating Memphis. But look what they did last year, and they were only a piece or two
Well,
away
it's
from-
because John Morant.
yeah,
that's
if
why.
they get Jaw and maybe another piece back. They could be really, really, really dangerous in the West, in a stacked West.
This is the kind of jersey you should get, please.
I think about it. I think about it.
Oh, you think about it.
But here's
Okay.
the problem is I have a lot of Jordan jerseys. So I already have a bunch of Bulls jerseys. And I ain't buying a fucking thing that says Pelicans on it. No way.
Yeah, you hate the Pelicans.
That's just a dumbass name. It's like since when
Speaking
you
of
like,
Pelicans,
I'm
are
scared
they
of the
underrated or
Pelicans.
overrated now?
Oh my god, the Pelicans! I'm so scared of them.
The Pelicans has nothing to do with New Orleans. Like
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I know they have them. Maybe they're down there in the swamps. But don't you want to like instill fear into your opponent and stuff? Like I was driving down New Orleans and I looked over and saw about 10 mad Pelicans trying to kill me. Ah!
All right.
I mean, are you afraid of the Guardians?
Yeah, did you ever? It's just that big statue that they have at the.
I mean, not the
that's where it's
Guardians,
won everything. The Guardians is a cool name.
I mean, the Commanders.
If you want to get technical, it's a war person. You know, commander is something you
It's a
should
war
kind of
person.
fear. War,
You're
commander.
trying to fit your case as a Pelican.
Commander is a high-ranking officer, so it has positives. And what's the positive about a pelican? Oh, it's pretty. It's got
Oh
pretty
my
colors. It's got
What's
interesting long legs.
What is up, Earl? What is up? But I'm
Yes.
trying to think of another underrated or overrated team. I think I'm going
You
to
know who
blank.
the most underrated team is?
Who?
The Seattle Supersonics, because they will be back and they will
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah,
Have
but
a
not yet.
basketball.
I
will
see
have it-
Vegas being a team first before Seattle does.
I think they both come in at the same time. One
I
year,
wish.
they pop in too.
Utah?
I liked it because
I would not say that it's underrated.
Wasn't it
No.
Charlotte and Orlando came together? One of the first two of the expansions after there was an expansion for a long time. I think it was Charlotte and Orlando.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are two. Yeah, the two expansions.
Okay. Yeah. Just trying to think. I think I'm stuck. Yeah. I would say no, not the Thunder.
Well, on paper, looking at the names that the Suns have, I'd say they're overrated.
They're overrated by far. By far.
Now,
Overrated.
now
Sorry,
look,
Rios.
now look,
I
we're
mean, sorry,
talking about
TRL.
We're talking
They
about
were
some of these.
overrated going into last season.
But we're talking about some of these groups that did not succeed this year as a group. Now, remember how we talked about Luka and Kyrie at the end of last year. That's never going to work. It's horrible. Those two aren't going to be able to work together. So who's to say the Bradley Beal project works next year and that team's a lot better or something? You know, I'm just playing the devil's advocate, other side of the coin. We got some of these combinations that teams have thrown together that don't work the first year or two, and we want to give up on them. And I just keep thinking about how I thought about Kyrie and Luka last year at the end of the year. We were dogging them. We were dogging them.
I got one. Cleveland Cavaliers is underrated. No one talks about them.
I would say they're underrated. I think right now the Sixers are overrated.
I
Because
can see that.
everyone wants to
can see
put them
that.
in the top 2 or 3 of the East just because they got Paul George. And until I'm going to be a realist, and I think he does fit the puzzle well because you want a player that's going to come in and do really well consistently, but not take away from what Embiid and Maxey can do. You already got 2 players that can average 25. You don't need another 25er. You need a 20er and a guy who's
By
going
the
to
way,
get 8 and 8.
speaking of the Sixers, you know who they're looking to sign now?
It's not who
Gordon
I want
Hayward.
to hear about it. I wouldn't mind him at all. He was so good at first, and then he just can't play like he used to all of a sudden. And I know he
Because
had some
after
really
that
bad,
big injury
he had a
had.
couple really bad injuries. He was never the same. But when he first came on, he was lights out. He was quick.
Yeah,
he was.
I agree.
he
If
was
we
awesome.
if we get that one, I'm fine for it. But right now, I
Yeah,
don't
and you
see
never
that.
know. You never know rejuvenating a career. I mean, that's a big one because it's been a while since he's been good. I mean, he's hopped around to like 6 or 7 teams too, trying to. And every time I see like, oh, they got Gordon Hayward, I'm like, maybe he'll make a difference. I'm thinking, well, what did Gordon Hayward do with the last 3 teams he was on? Even though he's a talent, he's not affecting anybody's team positively, and that it sucks
not
for him.
getting any younger.
Yeah,
Nah.
I tell you who I do. We talked a little bit about summer league. I don't know if we're going to go back to it or not, but Reed Shepherd down there in Houston's looking really good.
Cocaine Curry.
That dude has a little bit of everything, and he has
I
no
love
fear.
that. Oh my god.
He has no fear.
Wait, so Cocaine Curry passes it to Little Mike Evans?
That's our name for him right now, Cocaine Curry.
Is it a white thing or is it a drug thing?
No,
Or
it's
is
a
it
white.
both?
Because he's white.
I don't know if he ever got busted for coke or something.
no,
There's
no.
a bigger part of the story to it or something.
The Portland Trailblazers overrated? Underrated?
They're nothing. They're just rated.
They're nothing. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
They're rated appropriately. They suck.
And that's the thing. There's going to be like 8 teams that are just like in limbo, right in the middle. They're not going to win a championship because they don't have enough stars.
Middle.
But they have enough talent to not suck ass all the time. So that middle group is always going to be there. Gordon Hayward's a schmuck. I love that word, schmuck. There's a CH in there, though.
Portland is nothing. Yeah. I was trying to be creative, but I couldn't.
They're
Not with
rated.
that.
They're not underrated. They're not overrated. They're just rated.
Great question, Primetime. That was a great question. I love that. Cameron Payne, he signs with the New York Knicks.
You can't keep them all. That's the way I
You
look
can't
at it.
keep them all, but that was a perfect move for the New York Knicks. Perfect. I love it. Right behind Jalen Brunson being the 6th man. Perfect. Rios, how do you feel about Cam Payne going to the Knicks?
Good move for them, and I think Jalen Brunson taking less money so they can build a full team around them. Smart move. People might criticize them taking less money now, but like, hey, if you want to win championship, that's how it's been done the last few years. Tom Brady, Mahomes.
The only thing I think about Cam Payne, though, is and I'm only judging from what he did with the Sixers this year.
Right.
He seems so hot and cold. It was like you heard about him. Like, I don't know if that was part of Nick Nurse not utilizing him correctly or enough, or him just not having it consistently anymore. But it was like you see these flashes of brilliance and like, oh, look at Cam Payne, like a little spark plug. And then it's like, where's Cam Payne been for the last 5 games? No, you know what I mean?
Is that better than Kyle Lowry?
No, I think Kyle Lowry still has a lot left in the tank. I really do. In all seriousness,
I'm not getting into
a
that.
veteran like that has been all the way through the playoffs, played with some of the biggest names in the game. And I'll go back to the Kyrie Luka thing. Maybe it's taken Lowry a little longer to link into the system with the Sixers. If that dude clicks with this team this year, I mean, going off of how he played towards the end, and I don't want to hear about the fucking timeout no more. That's one play. It's one play.
You knew
Nick.
I was going with that.
Yeah, you're
going
gonna beat that dead horse, and I'm a dead horse beater too, so I get it. and that was a big
Whoa,
mistake.
whoa there.
It's a big mistake, but I'm just saying, as a Sixer fan and as just a basketball analyst, you got to realize a guy who has as much talent as Lowry has not been producing the last 2 years. I'll give him that. He is slower than he used to be. And I know you don't want to hear the mentor thing and stuff like that, but having a savvy veteran in there, maybe to kickstart the season until McCain, I don't want to rush McCain into that starting job. That's what I don't
want that either. I want him to be
really good. He's really good, but at least he could sit behind Lowry for a couple months. If Lowry,
I don't want Lowry to start though.
I think he should. They put the money in him. They invested in him last year, hoping that him or Hield would work out. You got rid of Hield, so you got to kind of. That's why I wanted to tell you this the other day when you were talking about this. When you put that much into bringing Lowry and Hield in to hopefully fill in that slot spot, the point guard, the other shooter, whatever you want to call it, and neither of them work out, that's a big failure. So once they knew Hield was leaving, I pretty much knew they were going to set base and lock in on Lowry and say, didn't work out the second half of the year. You got one more year to prove that you can still do it. We know you're on the end of your career. So that's what I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt as a veteran player who can still contribute until our young guys are ready.
Yeah, I can see that, but the one problem is Nick Nurse. Are we going to see Kyle Lowry get 30 minutes a game?
I don't know. I mean, this is
that's the one thing. That's the one thing for me.
This is a different team. I mean, I think you got to come in looking at it like it's a different team, and as a coaching standpoint too. And I think Coach would probably agree with me if he was here. Coming into that team last year, Nick Nurse didn't really have his guys. He was taking over someone else's team. That first year is always a little transitional. And that's what you saw.
He did good for his first year. I'm fine with that.
And just like you said, he likes the older, experienced guys. We saw that because he grabbed Buddy Hield and Lowry at the end of the year instead of going for youth or something. So we saw that. So when Hield we knew was gone, I was like, he's definitely going to sink his teeth in and say, Lowry, this is your job to lose this time around. And I don't mind him sinking it into someone who has proven it in the past. Last 2 years, he hasn't. I'm going to be real with you, and I know where you're coming from. But Lowry's also a guy, if he can tap into what he used to have, he doesn't have to score 25 points. He doesn't have to play 30 minutes. He needs to be a facilitator, an older guy, a leader, and let the younger players flourish. And he doesn't have to finish a game. He doesn't have to make a game-winning shot. None of that. You got Embiid. You got Maxey. You got Paul George. So you know what I'm saying? Like if he can accept this really small role and just be the point guard. So Maxey, because to me, I think Maxey and Halliburton, two of my favorite players, are not pure point guards.
Do you just like Tyrese's?
Yeah, it just turned out to be that way.
I'm just wondering.
But it's like you watch them both play. They bring the ball up, but they do like to slash and attack right away, and they can create because they're that quick, and that opens up your shooters. So I can see why they can be point guards, but I think both of them can also flourish. And as they get older in their careers, I think you're going to see both of them settle in to a shooting guard position or a secondary wing guard.
I can see that. But for me, it's just like when people say they don't need Kyle Lowry to score, I'm like, okay, that's out of the basket. Like every player needs to score.
But not 25.
I'm talking about like at least 12, like 10 to 12.
There should be games where he's double-doubling, yes, because he's that talented. He should throw up a couple double-doubles and assists and points here and there, definitely, because that's what you want in him. Here's my point where I'm getting at. Last year, remember I said I wanted Maxey to take that jump from 20 to 25 points, add a couple assists and rebounds, most improved player of the year. He made that jump. There's one more jump to make, and that's to elite. I don't think he can make it to elite as the point guard of this team. If he is a slasher, shooting guard, wing guard, and Lowry or McCain later in the season can run the show, Maxey can go 30 a game and be that guy. Yeah. And Embiid can afford to drop 20 a game, and 17 and 18 every once in a while. Maxey will be the 30 guy every game, be that guy. That's what needs to happen to make that leap. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe you see it differently. I don't think Maxey can make that leap as a point guard like they used him last year.
I think he's a better two guard than a point guard.
Yeah. Maxey's a better off ball. Yeah. He's better at off ball. He averages like what? Didn't he average like 6 assists?
But he has one of the quickest first steps to the right. If you watch him, when he brings the ball up, if there's nothing going on with the play, he will just quickly go right, and he's got the guy almost every time to the bucket. Yeah. And if the defense is spread out enough, Maxey can create that shot. 7 out of 10 times just driving to the right. That's why I think they have him as that point guard facilitator, because with arguably the best big man in the middle, as soon as he starts to penetrate, that's chaos for the defense. Because then they don't know if he's going to Embiid or Embiid's coming up for a pick and roll or what. That's just chaos for the defense when you have the slasher coming in from the top / point guard. But I just envision Lowry starting as your point guard with Maxey on the right-hand side. If it doesn't work, quickly change it. But I would not have a problem with that at all. And I think it could work really well.
How would you feel if the Sixers brought in Jeff Dowtin, like as another point guard for us? Would you? I'm not big into Jeff Dowtin. I am not, but we still need another facilitator, I think. So it's like,
But see, that's where
I still
it comes
want
in
Spencer
a beauty where
Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie is still available.
if you're technically moving Maxey out of the facilitator point guard position and have him as a wing, you still have Maxey as another facilitator point guard if you ever need one. You know what I'm saying? So you still have that third one there as kind of a leader too. So I don't know. It's a sticky situation. I like to think of it as Nick Nurse's. This is really Nick Nurse's first year as the coach of the Sixers team that he wanted. That's just
he had the Sixers #1 throughout the entire season, majority of the season. It was just the playoffs that did not.
And we could go back to this a million times. If Embiid was healthy the whole year, it's a completely different story because they were dominant at the beginning of the year. But that's a big what if. I don't like.
From a guy that hates that.
I know, but it's so glaring with this that it's like what's the third year in a row that he's been missing significant time in a team that could be able to make a run if he's healthy the whole way through. And I don't know. It's just that's a huge. I mean, who wants their #1 star to be injured every year? Nobody. Then you lose faith in him. Then you think maybe we should trade him for a bunch of other guys or some shit. It's like, and that's I think what the process is just having faith that sooner or later there'll be two pieces around him that would really complement what he does, which is abnormal to what anybody else in the NBA can do. Let's be real. When Embiid is on, nobody's on that game. Not Joker, not nobody. Joker's better in other different ways he's got over Embiid, and there's a lot of them. But it's
my God. Did you see in the beginning of the game what Jokic did to Embiid?
Yeah, that's tough for Jokic because I also noticed he was playing coach a lot on the floor, so he has to. He's not on the Nuggets where they know what they're doing. He's like trying to help coach these guys that, he might not know. He did like this spin
move around Embiid, and then he missed the layup, and then he did a spin move again on Drew Holiday, made him fall, and then he missed the layup again.
Well, I mean, I always talk about this on this podcast too a lot, and the Olympics and these type of games give me the ability to, and I say every year when new players come up, if I don't know about the draft, that's our ability to find these new stars and get to learn about them. I don't know his name. I wasn't watching the game close enough, but number 30 for today's game was amazing. The left-handed shooter that was shooting, he was quick trigger finger. Like I love finding new stars like that. And you never know where some guy comes out of the blue and plays an amazing Olympics. Next thing you know, he's signing for an NBA team next year.
Oh my God,
you never know when a diamond in the rough going to show.
Coach.
Yeah. So Nikki, how do you feel? We talked about this before we went live. We're on the Cameron Payne signing to the New York Knicks. How do you feel?
Well, the Sixers. It's a shame. I felt between if you were going to try to bring back Cam Payne or go for Kyle Lowry, they should have tried to go for Cam Payne first. Now we don't know if they offered him and he rejected but feel like between Lowry and Payne, we got the wrong guy. And for the Knicks, hey, that's a nice depth piece right there to add to the roster. You already got Brunson. Now you got Mikal Bridges, DaVincio, and those guys. Josh Hart. You're adding Payne to the piece. It looks like on paper that could help them be contenders, especially they got to compete with the Celtics.
That's $1 million question, prime time.
It's actually, who's still available? Precious Achiuwa. He's still available. He's there. I think Bobby Portis is there.
Gallinari, I think, if he's still a power forward, he's a little older.
Gallinari, I wanted Gallinari last year. But now
it seems like he's been around it seems like he's played for 20 years.
He's been around.
It's like, didn't he play with Tim Duncan in the Spurs or something?
I forget. Someone let me know how many years he's been in the NBA. I'm actually, and I love Gallinari.
He was part of the Melo trade.
Yeah.
That was man, how many years ago?
He was part of the Mello trade. Oh my god! Wow. Shit. Blaze is looking it up right now. I can tell. But all right. So let me bring up the screen here. Whoop. And we're only going to look at our team. So the Rockets and the Sixers. One
All right.
trade every NBA team can make right now.
2008. And there's mine right up on the top. There's mine right on the top. Laurie fucking Markkinen. Throw the whole house at him. I'm done. That and what the Warriors just turned down, 4 first rounds, Moody, 4 first rounds, 2 pick swaps, and like 3 second rounds, and they turned it down.
Dude.
Right.
Utah turned it down.
I know.
It's like
so
7 or 8 picks and Moody.
yeah.
Bro,
They wanted
I don't believe
Kuminga.
it.
Yeah. So
They wanted Kuminga.
yeah. So Rios,
Podziemski.
apparently you could trade Sasante in a 2027 first round pick, top 10 protected, to the Wizards for Corey Kispert.
Yeah, that's a needle mover. It's
I
bench
would
piece.
say, as a Rockets fan, the best move they can make is no move. I think they're set as far as the roster goes. Just develop your young guys and keep your draft picks.
Oh my god! I
Yeah,
just can't stop
I can agree. Oh my God, he was a part of the Paul George trade too.
Oh my god.
it.
Dude, Gallinari.
I mean, I'm starting to go full tilt on this. That Utah's just sitting on Markkinen, and they're not trading him.
It looks
They're
like it right
making
now.
offers, but they ain't trading. Like I think it was last week where you're like, I don't think he's getting traded. Now they're turning down shit like that.
Yeah, he ain't
Right.
going.
Plus, Utah has young
he's not-
pieces now too. They can afford to trade him right now.
Now I'm trying to find.
Oh,
Let's
just-
go to the
Yeah,
Knicks
it's a
here. I
power
want to
forward.
see who the Knicks. Here we go. Jericho Sims and a 2025 first round pick, top 10 protected via Washington, and a 2025 second round pick to the Utah Jazz for Walker Kessler.
That's another one of the pieces that Utah has. Kessler, another one that I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to move him. I think they're going
They're
to keep
not
what they
going to
have.
move.
They
I'm
got
telling you,
Kessler,
Utah's not
Markkinen, and
going to
they got
move
the
anything.
young. They got a nice little young team, but I mean, what the fuck do they want for Markkinen? My goodness, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, and 20 first round picks. What is this?
Yeah.
Like, I love Markkinen. I think he's a gem, but I don't think he's worth that much. I
He's not.
don't think anybody
not.
is. Nobody's worth 7 picks.
All right, you ready for the Sixers? So we signed KJ Martin. So signing trade KJ Martin, a 2026 first round pick, top 4 protected to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith.
To me, that's a push. I mean, they both could do well off the bench. I mean, I don't think either one's going to go light years ahead, but I don't know. Do you have a preference for either one of those, Mitch? I know you like Dorian Finney-Smith.
I like Dorian Finney-Smith, but I'd rather have Laurie Markkinen.
Yeah.
I think that's common. But Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm a fan of. Like his defense, his 3-point shooting ability, especially in the corner. I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. So people are telling me, like Mitch, or asking me, why did KJ Martin? Yes, I got it right. KJ Martin get 2 years, 16 mil.
Too many
This
Martins.
is why. So that they can add him in a trade by the deadline. They can't trade him until January 19th. So that is why.
Oh, there you have it.
Nikki, how do you feel?
I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, I mean, it's better than some of the pieces we had. It's like, all right. I mean, I wouldn't mind that necessarily, but is he really a needle mover? I mean,
It's just another guy. It's 3 and D. 3 in defense, pretty much.
Like at this point, we don't need any needle movers. We just need good bench
We
pieces.
don't.
Good bench pieces. And like I said, I just think either one of them could be a valuable bench piece. I don't think either one weighs more than the other if we have them on the team as far as value to make a difference. If you get where I'm coming from.
Yep.
Hard to explain, but
And then we'll just
some
go.
people that can help score some points and can help you get some boards, or mainly what you need for the Sixers.
Not bad for Phoenix for TRL. Nasir Little and a 2031 second round pick to the Lakers for Bones Highland. Not bad. Will the Lakers actually do it? Probably not.
No.
What if Bones Highland
Say it.
and a Dambona got together and they were Bones Bona?
Oh my God. I love it.
Hey, Dubs,
know,
what is up, my friend?
You ready for this? Hold on. You ready for this? Real quick. Who needs to do a jersey swap?
Oh, I don't know. Jersey
Grady
State.
Dick and a Dembona.
Oh, jeez. As long as it says Dick Bona.
Garrett. Oh my God, that
McClain.
commentator I wanted to shoot in the head. Oh my God.
Like, because he kept calling him McCann instead of McCain.
McClain. Like, what? I
McClank.
finally get it now, Blades. I finally get it now with you and Renee.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
the
finally
person's
get it now.
name. Like, I mean the announcer kept saying Jared McCann, right? And we all know it's
Yeah.
McCain. Like, so, like, who didn't? Why isn't there a producer, or someone on the network saying, "Dude, you're on TV, asshole. You got to say the guy's name right. He was drafted in the first fucking round, moron."
From Duke.
It's like, how do you? I mean, I understand someone getting a name wrong. I get names wrong. We all do. But when
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
over and over, like for the Mercedes Monet one, she says Monet like money, not Monet. She's not a fucking French painter.
Jared
But when
Greenberg.
your boss Tony Khan and other people are on TV saying Monet, I'm like, how could you sit there and let someone mispronounce your name right in front of you, like over and over and over? That would drive me insane.
That did.
I would actually
Like-
finally say, dude, my last name is McCain, dude. It's not McCann. Like I said, would you like me to call you Mike Kovsky? Mike?
Mike lost.
Mike Kovsky?
Hey, I've been used to that. People call me that when I was younger.
I mean, if you're gonna call me the name Nazi or whatever, I'm just a guy who wants people's names pronounced correctly, and I'm sure they appreciate.
I'm on that bandwagon now. I'm
Yeah.
there now.
Yeah. It's like then you sit there and like someone's on TV saying it, like this guy, like there's nobody within that network
That's
gonna
actually my
correct that
name.
person.
So
Yeah, no one's going to correct that person who is mispronouncing a name on TV over and over. Like, I get when you're trying to say Giannis Antetokounmpo and shit like that, or
Right.
I mean, Victor Weeby on your mama and stuff like that. It's not easy.
you just gave a nickname for Rio's Arsenal.
I said Weeby on your mama a few times. I'm sure you said
I
that.
know, but now Rio can say it whenever Wembanyama is scoring 50 on the Rockets.
No, well,
That's not
Weeby on his mama.
Okay. But yeah. So what's
Weeby
oh
Mama.
yeah. Huh?
Victor Weeby Mama.
Oh yeah. That's actually my name. That's actually my name. Which is a funny thing. People think I actually hate my name. I don't.
So you asked about a team trade right now. Do you guys actually think there's going to be any trades from this point? It's like it seems like everything's done.
Yeah, I don't see what's happening.
It doesn't seem like it. Like, the only names are floating around are still, like you said, the Achua free agency, the marketing, a couple names. Like, there's not really a lot of buzz. It's like you really like the Clay is dropped, the Paul George is dropped. Like, of all these names have already moved around. It's like, do you really see? Like, I don't know. Like, I hear people still talking. The Sixers still got to get a piece. I don't know. I think they're done.
Oh, Damien, thank you for saying that because that's the next topic. Thank you. Their
Is that
trade values are so down bad. They're like at the bottom. So what does Chicago go from here?
Now,
Thank you, Damien.
I know another Chicago fan named Damien who says really dumb shit in the chat. So if you're not Damien Hernandez, I apologize ahead of time for how much I'm about to bury you. Thinking
You know
might
that's
be
him
someone
again.
else. That's why I said it. I mean, it is a Bears fan named Damien. So I'm thinking that might be Damien Hernandez. But if I say something really mean to my friend Damien and you're not him, I apologize.
But yeah, where did Chicago go from here? They finally got rid of DeMar DeRozan. About time, but I think they're
I
stuck.
have a hard time feeling bad for a franchise that I watch get 6 fucking championships in like 8 years. I can't feel bad for them.
Are
They
they
can
like
suffer.
are
They
they
can
like
suffer
the
for the next
Cowboys
30
now?
years. Yeah, they're not quite that bad because they're not all boisterous assholes like Cowboy fans. But like the Bulls deserve. I mean, they don't deserve to have championship teams for another 20 years. I don't know.
Read between the lines.
So I don't really feel bad for the Bulls, to be honest. I just, that's another
I kind of
story
do.
of a team that trying to avoid needing to completely rebuild, like I talked about with the Sixers a couple weeks ago. We should just be happy as Sixers fans. They didn't have to just dump everybody and just have one player and try to build around them or restart. Like if Embiid said, I'm the fuck out of here. And then we had just Maxey and had to rebuild everything. That's what a lot of teams are having to do. And it ain't pretty. It ain't easy. Unless you get one of these big fucking trades where you got a shitload of picks. You start building a young team like Houston or Oklahoma City and have a bunch of picks and young talent.
Utah is one of them
as
now.
well, yeah.
They're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have teams that are going to want veterans and people that, have done it before. So I don't really fault. I mean, I know he's done it religiously, Nick Nurse, but I don't really fault people doing that. I did see, I don't know if you had this on the docket or whatever, but the Lakers hired a female assistant coach.
That just happened as soon as I sent the docket. So yeah, we could talk about that now.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, if you got the experience and you could be a great coach, you don't have to be the same gender. You don't have to be a man to coach men and women to coach women. I've never believed in that, so good for her. I mean, there should be more opportunities for women that are smart enough to come in and hold their own and help a team out with their knowledge with the game, period.
Yeah, no one wants Brandon Ingram too.
Yeah, that's 2 other names that have been bouncing around and never ended up
Orleans
anywhere.
wants too much for him, and they got to read the room. Like he's not worth what they're asking for.
They're not going to trade him. They're
That's
not.
why I think Paul George ruined the market.
Yeah, he really did.
Oh,
As much as I think he arguably was the best free agent out there and is a good fit to not like mess up with what the Sixers have, but still contribute for a couple of years, maybe because he's old. I think the price of his tag ruined the market. Because then you saw Brunson take less, and he was called a team player for doing it. Then you saw LeBron take hardly anything less when he was supposed to take less. And he, which I'm not going to argue with a LeBron James making $50 million if there's people making $50 million. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to argue with that. But it's just like, I think Paul George ruined the market. And now some of these teams with these players with the Levines and these other players with these big contracts and shit, it's hard to dump them. I don't know all the numbers. I'm never going to pretend to know all the numbers of CBA and all that bullshit. But I just know it's making it more difficult for these players to get off of these teams. It's obvious.
yeah. I mean, could you say Klay Thompson too?
I think if rules were different, Klay would have been gone from that team a couple years ago.
Oh,
I think he would have explored free agency a little earlier and tried a different team.
when his value was up higher.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, why would
I get it. Now
When
he's
teams-
just starting small forward for the Mavericks.
Well, the problem was the Warriors never fell off. They were always in championship contention. So why would you want to leave? And they just kept adding good pieces with the 3 that they had, and they were just a phenomenal 3. I'm rooting for Klay because I like to see players go on their own and prove that it wasn't just because they were with somebody else. Like
Right.
I kind of felt bad for Scottie Pippen when he move with the Blazers or something, and something he tried to never really he could never show that he was the man.
Thank you for reminding me about that prime time.
Some
Thank you.
people are a really good Robin and never be a Batman. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you all shocked Pat Bev declined offers to go overseas?
Could care
This is
less.
the funniest thing. Blaze, remember when you and I went live on the trade deadline? And then people were saying, like, oh, we should have got rid of Pat Bev for campaign. Pat Bev now is overseas. Cameron Payne is on the Knicks. We ended up with 0. Like,
2 things that didn't work out. And hey, I'm kind of with you, man. I don't know for sure. As much as I'm an advocate of Klay and I want him to do well on a different team, the numbers and the trajectory does not show that he will. I mean, it shows that he'll have an average year on another team, which I hope is wrong. I hope he can prove that wrong and show that he can shoot. I mean, we're talking about a guy who can drop 8 or 9 threes in a game, any game.
yeah.
I mean, and
I
that
wanted
could be
him on the
that's a-
Sixers
that's a
so
difference.
badly. I wanted
that's-
Klay.
That's a difference of a game. When you got someone coming in who isn't your 1 or 2, which he's been the number 2 for how long? Decades in Golden State.
Yeah. Clippers owner giving out money. Yeah. Because they
I'll
have a
take
new
some.
arena. They
I'll-
rebranded.
I'll
So
take some money. You can throw some this way.
I'll take some.
You'll take it all. You won't.
There you
leave
go.
any- You won't leave any-
There you
As
go.
Lindsey
you won't-
Harden goes, hey, I mean, it's a good opportunity for her to prove herself and to maybe set herself up to be a coach one day because she tried interviewing for the Hornets but didn't get the job. But hey, if she comes into the Lakers, she can be a good assistant behind JJ Redick. Hey, that could open the door for her to maybe get an opportunity. Maybe if it don't work out with JJ, maybe she gets promoted or she goes somewhere else a year or 2 from now and gets the opportunity as a head coach.
We were knocking him. A lot of people were knocking him as an unexperienced coach, come in for the Lakers, blah blah blah. But he's surrounding himself with good people, smart people, and I don't think JJ's a dummy. I think he's gonna take this seriously, and I think try to lead this team back into prominence. I hope he doesn't. I don't want him to succeed. You know,
I'm just waiting. What's the next move going to be for the Lakers?
They're going to grab
what's the next
the
move?
same thing they do every fucking year when you got a LeBron. They'll grab 3 or 4 used to be stars at league minimum or whatever at the end of the year and hope LeBron can carry them. The same thing they do.
At this point, because they have 15 guaranteed contracts, they have
Right.
no space. They would have to trade players, but they have no one that anybody wants outside of LeBron or AD.
Remember
They're-
when
they're-
Russ? That
They're
was
pretty
a
much
disaster.
stuck with the same team unless they move.
they
What's his
got-
name? Austin.
Yeah, they got rid of those guys to the Wizards just to get Russ because of LeBron's friendship with him. When the real thing that killed him the year before was not being healthy. It's like, and look what happened with Russ. They were worse off than they were in 22 than they were in 21. It wasn't until they traded Russ and they got back into contention.
Speaking of him, is there any word on him? Is he staying with the Clippers? Is he going somewhere else? Is he retiring? I haven't heard shit about him.
The last thing I heard is that there was supposed to be a trade for him to go to Denver, but then
heard
that
that,
just fell
too.
off. So
Yeah, I'm not buying into all the talk about it. We'll see what happens.
That's one I
Well-
wouldn't be surprised ends up on the Lakers or something like that. You know, I mean, I'm just saying. I think they try to pull some strings late to grab a couple names or something, you know, to hopefully make a little run. But like you guys said, look what they had. They didn't have it. You can have a LeBron, which is a threat at any game, but you can't go all the way with that. You got to have a damn team nowadays. The days of, you know, one player being able to carry it, especially when he's 20 years into his career, no matter who you are, LeBron or not.
Yeah, I mean, at best right now, they're a 10th, 11th seed. Like, they're going to be fighting for a playing spot like they have been the last 6-7 years.
Yep.
Hey, but they can hang that midseason tournament banner.
Yeah.
Like,
What
their best finish under the was like a 7th seed? Like,
if we
Yeah.
talk? What if we talk about the
Yeah.
end of LeBron's career as they missed the playoffs 3 years, but they win the in-season tournament all 3 years?
Well, they did make the playoffs last year.
I mean, this year, the next 3. So they won the next 3 years. That'll be 4 years in a row they win the in-season tournament, and they'll miss the playoffs 3 years of LeBron's last 3 years.
That would be hilarious.
That would be funny as shit.
yeah, that'd be good.
What if they don't even win the in-season tournament?
Talk about a Trivial Pursuit question for the next generation.
well, I
Oh,
think this
God.
year that the way they're scheduling it's a little bit different, so they're not going to get all the easy teams like they did last year. So don't be
True.
shocked if they get a first-round exit in the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
Can't
Oh
wait.
my-
They should have 2 of them.
How?
One before the All-Star break and one right after the All-Star break. Yeah.
Ugh.
2 in-season tournaments. They didn't have a preseason, preseason
How about
tournament.
let them focus on a dunk contest first, and then we can figure out a second
Listen,
one?
I am the biggest dunk fan you may ever meet of the
I
dunk
know.
competition.
I know.
And I am right now at this point, even though I tried to find things that I liked out of the last one and all these other videos I watch and share with you guys, they will never fix the dunk competition. I fear now. They have to prove me wrong. I am convinced they will never fix it. And I don't know why. I know the first thing is money. We've already talked about that. You throw $10 million to the winner, John Morant and Zion are in it next year.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'd love to see just 1 year with those two and a hand of other of these, you know, Ant Edwards, Ant Edwards and those two alone, those 3.
And Monte Buzelis?
Throw in skinny,
Like,
skinny
throw
white
him in
boy.
there.
Throw in skinny white boy too. I mean, it's just like I would love for that to be resurrected, but until there's big money in there, none of the big names are going to go. They're going to do the same fucking bullshit every year. And then you can just go to Instagram and see 10 times better dunks from amateurs.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem. When they say there's nothing new that can be done, but you guys are in the group chat. How many videos have I shared of dunks that we've never seen in the past 6 months? I've probably shared a dozen or more of dunks we've never seen that are just insane.
Yeah.
And nobody's trying them. And they're not like super difficult dunks that can hurt the person. I mean, we've jumped over cars and people and mascots, and for fuck's sake. Why do we have to throw alley-oops to ourselves all the time and jump over people? Why?
Like it's the same tricks over and over again. Like,
But there are so many. Like I've seen the guy who jumps in the air, bounces it off the ground, catches it, and does a windmill. A guy who shoots a three and goes and catches it after it comes through the net and then dunks it again. Like I've seen insane shit.
Yeah.
And I would
think
love
we all
for it to
have.
be back. I would love for it to be back to the way it used to be. But I mean, if you're gonna, I say it will never be back because they won't get the big names.
Nah.
but to me, the last good dunk contest was the 2016 with Aaron Gordon, Zach Levine.
Yes. Yeah. Now you can
Yeah.
pick up a dunk or two from every year since and have a couple good dunks, but it's not. Yeah, it's not like it used to be where you're talking about people doing something we've never seen the night before. Like how many people do that lean, kiss the rim type stuff when Jordan? No one did that before Jordan. Nobody. The
No.
2 foot, kiss the rim off the side, and that's like
Yeah.
everyone does that now.
And as far
It's
as
like-
Levine goes, man, the Bulls are stuck. That's what you get for paying
I'm telling you.
all-star, superstar money when they're only have a certain ceiling.
I can fix the dunk competition.
We all can.
You do two things. Number one, you put the $10 million on there. You get rid of props. No props. No jumping over people. No cars. No props at all. I want it you in the basketball. You want to use 3 basketballs or jump over a rack or something? Maybe use props that are on the court that are there, not props you got to bring in. And number 3, you do NBA versus the world. You get the top 10 dunkers or the top 4 dunkers in the world. You get 4 from the NBA. That way you're guaranteed to see crazy shit for the show. It's a show. So you bring in 4 people, you sign them to a 1-day contract, all the legal shit, so they can dunk at the All-Star game. And you're going to see the NBA players have to step up. Do you think they want to be embarrassed by people that aren't pros? Because they will be. Flight Brothers and those shit that I show those videos of, that shit's fucking phenomenal that they do. It would embarrass the NBA players. So then you're clicking into their ego. You're clicking into what makes these people tick, their competitive nature. Now you're tapping into something that's going to make them want to be more experimental. That's going to make them want to go practice dunking after you're done practicing for the game. And they're not doing that anymore. I mean, you get them fucking around, but no one's studying and getting ready for the dunk competition every year except for Matt McClung.
You know who ruined it? You know which player ruined it?
Dwight Howard.
LeBron. LeBron ruined it because if he just did it right from the start,
there's
I truly believe more stars would.
I agree, but I also agree because think about the Banana Boat group and LeBron's boys. Now, if it wasn't LeBron, which you are totally correct, just say 2 of the other ones joined. I think, and one of them won. LeBron would join the next year. So you're right. LeBron was the linchpin to make it continue to be big names all the time if he would have stayed in it. But his clique, if 2 of his people in his little clique would have joined it, like, I don't know, Dwayne Wade would have been good enough. He probably could have. Melo wasn't really a big fancy dunker or didn't do many, he was more finesse and shooting. So Chris Paul was, so it's like not all of them, but Bosch did some crazy shit back in the day, Dwayne Wade. So there are ones like that could have kept it going. But it's the money, and the bottom line is the money.
Yeah.
You put enough money up. These are guys that are now making $50 million a year. You can't throw 50 grand at them and think that's going to make them come out of the woodwork to risk their career in a dunk competition.
So let me ask you this. Why are there more players joining the 3-point contest then? Is the 3-point contest the best in All-Star Weekend now?
I mean, it's for three-point
What's
shootout too
interesting
is and it's less risk. It's something you do every practice to shoot a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
You're not doing windmills and trying crazy dunks every practice. The 3-point shootout is something that they routinely do every day. So it's
Yeah.
less risk. So people are more willingly to say, hey, of course I'll be in the 3-point shootout. I'm just standing there shooting like I do every day.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's my other question is like, I mean, that's just one of many reasons. Who knows? Maybe there's a threat of embarrassing yourself in the dunk competition. You come out and you miss your first 2 dunks, you get nothing. That's embarrassing. You know, and these are egotistical, most highly competitive people on the planet. Maybe they are afraid they come out and they can't hit their dunks. Or, you know, who knows?
Yeah, but how about this though? You can say the players, you can say the props or whatever. The judges, I think, had a big part in that as well. They cannot judge a dunk contest. You have like these old veterans, like Hall of Famers, which is good, but you need someone who is younger, who knows what a good dunk is now and stuff like that. So the judges.
I originally said a couple of years ago that former champions should be, but some of them have proved me fucking completely wrong too by being shit judges.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
like, I mean, the idea of a 50 should be rare. The idea of holding up the 10 should be rare.
Yeah.
When you come in as a judge of a show like that, you should be ready to hold your 10 up maybe twice. If you're holding your 10 up 4 or 5 times in the first round, you're killing the legitimacy of the contest. Like, plus, we're all talking about human judgment too. We're not talking about, you know, there's no way to quantify how fast the revolution of his windmill was against another guy. You know, we're not playing horse where they got to do the same dunks because we're dealing with different levels of skill. So
Yeah.
you can't universalize the dunk competition like you can with 3-point shootout. Anybody can shoot a 3, but when it comes to the dunks, number one, you're cutting it right in half at least for people that can do fancy, spectacular type of dunk. I'm not talking about just anybody who can throw it down. I mean, in NBA, they all probably can to some extent, but you want people that can do things we've never seen before. Go behind their back twice, you know, alley-oop, but it bounces off the second bounce and catches it and dunks. You know, it's like shit we've never seen before. Off the wall.
Yeah.
The ones who used to throw it off the side of the backboard, those used to impress me more than a lot because I've tried that shit. And it's hard enough just to hit it off the side of the fucking backboard and make it come back at you.
Yeah. Now, to go back to what Nikki said about 2016 dunk contest with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, the fact that Zach LaVine said that he would never do a dunk contest since, that says a lot.
That hurts it. That hurts the competition and the game. That's what I mean. Like
Oh my
LeBron saying he
God.
doesn't want to, him saying he doesn't want to. Just don't say it if you're not going to, because that ruins the competition. Now people are like, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and it influences other players thinking like, oh, well, if LeBron doesn't want to do it, why should I do it?
And I'm at prime time. I'm one of the biggest Dr. J fans on the planet. He's a shit judge too. There's a bunch of them that have had the opportunity to be judges, and they're throwing fucking 10s up for stuff that should not be a 10. Like, if number one, if you've seen the dunk before, I don't care how good it is, it shouldn't be a 10.
Nah. It's bad.
But I mean, to me, like I said last year during and after the competition, it could be the worst dunk competition on the planet, but it is a dunk competition. Just like the home run derby. You know, we had that last night? Home run derby.
2 nights ago, yeah.
It's something that I used. Yeah, All-Star game was last night. I used to love the home run derby because before, in the 80s, we didn't have it. In the 70s and 60s and the 50s even, they had it on ESPN. There's no fans, and this is before back to the marketing discussion and selling tickets and making money. This is when baseball was about baseball. Sports was just about sports. I remember ESPN used to show it like Sunday afternoons, off-season football, like right before baseball starts and stuff. It would be like Mickey Mantle versus Willie Mays. They're the only two motherfuckers on the field, no fans, just hitting home runs in black and white. I'm like, how cool is that? And what was going through their minds to think, yeah, let's not sell tickets and make money with this. You know what I mean? Like, why weren't they selling tickets for that back then? People like Michael Jordan. Because sports was separated from money a lot more back then. Number one, they weren't making shit tons of money as athletes. Now, I mean, I remember I was just telling my brother about it. We were talking about how much money these players are making, NBA compared to NFL and stuff like that, how these contracts are getting astronomical, it seems. And I remember it was 1982, 83 maybe, a Sports Illustrated with baseball salaries on the front because they were celebrating the first person to get $1 million in 1 year. And now it's like almost all of them get $1 million a year, if not 50, 60 million. But I said this the other day too. If the money's coming in, if the people are buying tickets, they're buying the merchandise, then they have enough money to pay. If the money's coming through these organizations, these billion-dollar corporations, enough to pay Paul George $50 fucking million a year, go get the money and do what you got to do. I mean, that's the market right now. It's ridiculous because I'm the type of person also that says take the top 10 most famous. I'm not famous. Take the top 10 richest people in the world. Take half of their money from them, and we solve world hunger, poverty, all kinds of problems. But that'll never happen.
No.
Because there's literally 3 people in the United States that could probably get rid of hunger just by giving half of what they own.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll never happen because of greed and money. And that's what sports has come to too. It's a big part of it now. So it's just a reality that the money is going to be a big part of it.
Shout out to reality check.
Sometimes too much of a part of it. Like I miss the days, and I'll use my sports collecting of cards. Back in the day when you went through a pack of cards, you literally would look at each one, look at the stats on the back, look at the picture, who maybe there's someone in the background of the picture. Nowadays, for me to turn on a sports card channel and they go through the whole cards, just look for the valuable one and throw the rest away, that crushes me because that's my youth, my childhood, and what I think of sports. It's turned into fucking money, and legalized sports gambling has changed it too. I can't stand it. I get it. I know why people do it. I have a passion for collectibles, so I get like passions for gambling and stuff. But as much as I was an advocate for legalizing sports gambling, I think it's ruined a lot of sporting.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the true sport of competition and respectfulness and sportsmanship, which we don't see as much anymore.
Nah.
I just saw a video the other day of a guy doing this. It was a high school kid. He did this dunk right down the lane on like 2 guys. He picked up the ball and handed it to the ref. No reaction. Didn't stare the guy down. Didn't flex over him. Didn't put the hand down like you're too short. Didn't fucking pose or nothing. He picked the ball up, hand to the ref like it was something he does all the time. And I was like, that is fucking badass.
I haven't seen that. You got to send me that.
And it's just a kid in high school, and it's like, why are we celebrate that as a rarity now compared to every time someone gets a poster dunk, they got to stand over and Hulk over the guy, Plus, when it's in high school, you're talking about kids that are going to go to D1 or maybe play pro against the kid on the fucking science team or math team from the high school that can't get good players, and you're going to celebrate your poster dunk and flex on them. I get passion and energy and showing somebody up. Trust me, I did as well. But it's just that's all it is anymore. It's when we celebrate sportsmanship as a rarity, that's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, guys. All right. So that's going to conclude Pick and Roll Podcast, episode 80. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode. If you haven't checked it out yet on Spotify, please do so. Hardcore Sports Network Podcast. Subscribe to me, Blaze Radio, Just Fans Podcast, Nikki Stees, Hardcore Sports Network, and we are out. Catch you guys. Peace.